Family. Good night, everyone. Welcome to another Sports Frenzzyy podcast. I'm your host, Devon. With me tonight, I have a regular analyst, Ryan Larson, and Chris Lynch. Ryan is an English fan. Chris has dual citizenship. This man supports a lot of teams. Notice that this man says he's a Liverpool fan and here tonight in a Juventus jersey. Who does that? But Chris, since as I put you in that light, could you please declare which national team you actually support?
I'm a Spaniard by birth, so my bad. My parents are from Jamaica, but I was born in Spain. My bad.
I know some sweating at Kenya though. I look
Spanish
at
Town?
the religion.
Born at Spanish Town?
Must that
No, man, I'm a
what?
Spaniard by birth, but my parents are from Jamaica, so I have dual citizenship, like Levon said.
Okay, boss. And also in the building, for the first time in a long while. And if I because I call him out
No,
on
man,
the
no,
show.
no, no, no do me that, man. No do me that.
We have Wally. And we're not talking about Pini Wally. We're talking about Wally West,
In the building.
Brazilian. The man that was beating Wicked Man Chris in the comment section the other night on the show tonight. Welcome, boss. It's a pleasure having you again.
Greetings, greetings, greetings.
All right, so guys, tonight discussion will be centered around Euros. And since as we have a Brazilian here, we'll let him touch on his bug side. I mean, they don't really have much of anywhere to go in, but we're going to touch on them. But first, we're going to look at three particular teams that are going to partake in Euros. First up, the team that a lot of people are saying that is the pre-tournament favorite, the French national side. Would any of you guys say they are the overwhelming favorite going into this tournament?
I would say they are one of the favorites. I wouldn't say they are the overwhelming favorites, as some people are making it out to be.
Chris?
The French team has some deficiencies in it, like every other side.
Overwhelming
want that?
favorite, still have a lot of chemistry.
Stick up in because it seems like Ryan wants to delve into it a little bit more. So, Ryan, since as I said they have deficiencies, right? In what particular area would you say that they have weak links? Because a lot of people have touted them as, oh, they are this world-class side and have world-class players in every position and all of that. So, the floor is all yours. Break down this French team.
All right, let me start by saying though that this French team, they play as a team. They have a system of play. If you are to pick apart the team man for man, they are not great individually in every single facet. Let me explain. Goalkeeping, Hugo Lloris has been on a decline for years. He's still France number one. Hugo Lloris has a mistake or two in him every game or every other game, or as it may be. Left and right back, Pavard is a good defender. He's not a great right back. He's a good defender. Left back, good defense. The ones that were picked. I think Luca Denia is a bit more attacking, but he's a good defender. He's not great. He's not. I wouldn't call him a world-class left back. Not like when they had Lizarazu and so forth. And what else did they have? Abidal. He's not in that league of former French left back.
One quick question, Ryan, since as you're in the left back position. If you were the coach of the French national team, would you have selected Theo Hernandez, either one of these guys, since as his attacking impetus is way greater than these two guys combined?
I thought Theo would have made the team. And then you also have Pearl and Mendy who got left out, so you have to also look at that. Could Theo have made it over Mendy? I don't think so. So you also have that.
He has had a better season though, to be honest.
Yeah, probably if you look at it that way in terms of their season, but if you are to also isolate it and say, okay, Mendy plays for Real Madrid and which is a stronger team than AC Milan, then you can look at it from that angle and say, okay, Mendy may actually be a better defender playing for a bigger team, whereas AC is an up and coming team with some of the young players that they are bringing in now.
One thing though, Ryan, I don't necessarily agree with that. Reason being, if you look at it, right, Lucas Hernandez has predominantly played as a left centre back all season long for Bayern, yet is selected as the French first choice left back. So, as I pointed out, I don't quite remember if it was on.
You know that
show.
it seems as if Deschamps like those fullbacks who are actually centre backs, because Pavard is really a centre back playing right back. Theo is basically the same thing. So it seems as if it's a thing that you like with the fullback.
Difference though. The difference is that Pavard has mostly played as a right back for Bayern, while Lucas Hernandez, on the other hand, has played centre back position more often than not.
That's true.
So I mean, it's kind of mind-boggling somewhat, and it is basically the same team that he played in the last World Cup. He's sticking by right now, because remember that these were the guys that actually
for the most part, yeah. Let me just go back. Let me just go to the position. Yeah. Centre back, they have issues with centre back because Kimpembe has been off color. Zuma is average, not good with the ball. He's just an old school type defender from yesteryears. I'm trying to remember the other centre backs that they have off the top of my head, not coming to me right now. But generally speaking, they have long left, right?
And Jules Koundé.
Koundé is up and coming. Had a very good season with Sevilla, but he's up and coming. He's not there yet. Langley is error prone. He's just a decent defender. I don't expect him to play much if he plays at all. So they are not great in the centre back positions either. See, when you isolate them, you start to see the deficiencies. Midfield, mostly workhorse players in the midfield. Musa Sissoko, I don't know what he's doing in the squad. You have better players that could have made a team who are, but I guess Deschamps like midfielders who were like himself. The guys who do the work and are not necessarily the skillless midfielders like what many other teams now have. Or it doesn't seem to love the playmaking type midfielders that much. He likes the workhorse midfielders and the box-to-box midfielders more than the skill ones. Line, they have a decent front line, but the backups are also normal backups. Ben Yedder has a good season, but is a decent player. Decent to very good player. Apart from Benzema is a world-class forward. Mbappe is a world-class forward, and Griezmann is a top class. I want to put him as world-class. He's hit and miss many times, but he does well for the French team.
But in terms of attacking influence on the bench, they have Ousmane Dembele, Kingsley Coman.
Yeah, but what has Dembele done over the past 2 years except get injured?
Come on, man. Come on, Ryan. Why you have to be doing the man like that?
No, but seriously, what has he done?
Well, that's the truth, though.
Since he left, let me put it next way. Since he left Dortmund, what significant has Ousmane Dembele done for a season?
It's the truth. It's just the truth, man. Majority of the times he has been injured.
Yeah. And but, there's also something we have to know about France. Going into tournaments, is either they do very good or they do very bad. There's really not. If you look at France over the history of tournament footballs, they don't really do in between, except for maybe like 2014 World Cup when they went to the quarterfinals and lost 1-0 to Germany. They are normally very good or very bad. So it's either they go to the semi-final or the final and win it, or they do really bad this one. So and we also know that in football, football is very cyclical. And what Deschamps maybe have done over the past 3 to 5 years that worked may not work this time. So it remains to be seen if what he's trying to do to replicate again will work. So I have concerns for France as much as they are one of the favorites. I see where it can go bad, and I also see where it can go very good. So it depends on how the football match plays out.
Before I move on, Wally, please enable the camera.
Yeah, man, it's enabled.
Chris, you heard all of what Ryan has said, right? Do you have any input whatsoever to make, or do you agree with what he has said?
No, I disagree. They are the old favorite. Seeing how Kante has played, I'm not too worried about their defense that much. If the only problem I have is if Dembele is fit. Not Dembele, Mbappe. Is Mbappe fit? Because a lot of what France is doing is going to come from him and Griezmann. And I think the main is having a better, how France play, they like to cross the ball. So they call in Benzema, who's a better finisher than Giroud. So they have improved in that department. Because he can head the ball as just as good as Giroud and probably a better finisher than Giroud. So I like Benzema back in the squad. But I think in terms of talent, they have to be the overwhelming favorite. In terms of talent, just on pure talent, they are the overwhelming favorite.
But a lot of people are saying that the reason why Deschamps kind of drag back for Benzema is because when you look at the group and see all those teams, the Portugal and the Germany, it was like, no, Giroud can't lead the line against these teams. But if you really look at the French makeup, as I said, as I said the other day, right? I said it on the live, that they're going down a particular path that teams that has won the World Cup before has done. They have stuck with majority of players that won the previous World Cup, and that within itself. All right. So I mean, he had better quality out there to choose from, and yet still is stuck by most of these players, as you said, Sissoko and all those guys. Like, how does that make any sense? And you expect to go on to win this?
That's how coaches are, though, Levan. They like to show loyalty to players, and most times it does pay off.
But let's see how this
I'm
goes.
not sure about them both, you know. Because football is very cyclical.
But look at it though, Ryan. As I said, the past couple World Cups has proven it, that these teams have stuck by a majority of those players, while teams that have not won it have just basically used a cycle. They have changed and chop and change players to make up their unit better. While, as I said,
because what is it, Levan? It's tournaments. You need chemistry. So if you keep using that chemistry that you know that team had in a tournament, you feel more comfortable as a coach. It's just basically trying to secure a job, I think, most of the times, because they believe that these players are, even though you might think that Dembele not supposed to be in the squad, he's saying who I'm bringing over Dembele probably is not as much better, even if they are better at the moment. You wouldn't say they are this, upside and down. You're wondering, how could that be? So I guess that's how coaches think.
No, but that doesn't really make much sense though, Chris, because as I said, if you're following a particular trend that has happened before, why you don't actually try to change that from way out, probably 2 years before the World Cup? You try to fit in players that would actually fit into the system of play that you actually want, because I said that chemistry and camaraderie and all that, yeah, we agree with that. However, are you telling me that if say they fail the next World Cup, are you going to do what Germany has done? Wait until after you actually fail to actually make those changes? Makes no sense, boss.
That's what I said to you. I see where it can go good and I see where it can go bad. It depends on how the football is played on the day and how the tournament pans out. But then if he continues until 2022, it can go really bad.
All right.
I mean, continues with these the same thing that he's doing now.
All right, Wally, you would like to have an input about the French team? Because I know that Arsenal fans are closely connected to French national team. You know?
Definitely. The thing is that Ryan made an interesting point at the beginning of his commentary with respect to the deficiencies of the French team as it relates to defense. The thing is, though, I don't see the deficiencies to such a degree where it is so significant that it will in any way deter them from really carrying home the big prize. You can't look at the team and say, compared to the other big contenders, there is a huge gap between the defense of the French team and the defense of the other teams. Yes, they may be a little more compact, but if you really look at their goal difference, that is what will be the key. So yes, there are deficiencies, but I think the firepower that they have up front will more than compensate for those deficiencies. One, and then two, based on the gap between the respective teams compared to the French teams, is really not that wide as it relates to their defense. So I still have them as the number one team to bring it home.
But
Not
Wally, what we're actually saying though is that the players that they actually brought, the centre back pairings that they actually brought, right, and the centre backs that are actually there, they had better players that they could have chose from.
Reasonable, but I figure that, as I said again, because the gap is not significant between themselves and the other teams, I don't really see that as a major issue. So I definitely take the point that as it relates to personnel, there are better options, but again, as I said, based on the very fine margin between the defense of France and the other teams, to me, that selection is really inconsequential.
Yeah, because Ryan, I'm sure that you agree with that so much.
When you look at the other contenders, all of them have problems in their defense. All of them. Yeah, but because we're talking France here, which is why I chose to highlight the French team. If you were to ask me about Italy, Spain, whoever else, I'd have given the same response about their defense. All contenders have issues with their defense when you really look at it.
I'm glad that you brought that up though, because all right, Chris, you mentioned something that I really want to talk about a bit. I've realized one thing with the French team as well, and one player in particular, Kylian Mbappe. This one seems to be taking up everything that Neymar has. They dive in and all of that. Why the man gone down that road? The theatrics, why?
That's why your mom used to tell you, watch your company.
But it's following dive more, man. But over to our next team now, we're going to talk about Italy. Was being unbeaten since 2018. They haven't lost that much. Yeah, so they have been on as a matter of fact, let me not say good. They have been on an excellent run under the tutelage of Roberto Mancini. Roberto Mancini has done very well with them. And if you look at their squad going in, let's also point out that they beat up Czech Republic earlier on today, 4-0. Ciro Immobile, Nicola Barella, Lorenzo Insigne, and Domenico Berardi scoring the goals for them. So the problem that a lot of people are looking at initially was, can Mancini get these guys clicking in terms of a centre forward? Because that has always been the Achilles heel of Italy. So they're saying, can one of Ciro Immobile or Andrea Bellotti actually click when it comes on, when it matters most at this Euros? Because yes, in terms of midfield, they have a good midfield with Jorginho, Barella, and Locatelli. That is a decent midfield, although Verratti more than likely will start over one of them. But in terms of midfield, they are very good. But as Ryan keeps on highlighting, the defense is where you have to keep on scratching your head. When you see man like Chiellini is still around in that defense, Bonucci is still around in that defense. That leaves it to think: can they handle
And
the pace?
Acerbi is what now? 33 or so?
Again,
Acerbi is what? 33 as well?
or Francesco Acerbi?
Yeah.
I'll check it
He's
and
like
give you
30,
anything.
he's like 33 now.
So I mean, if you look at it, yeah, he's actually 33. So I mean, if you look at it, the defense is hold. But I like you to jump into that one, Chris. Italy has been unbeaten for the last 3 years. Mancini has done a good job with them. Where's the issue for them now?
Yeah, there's no concern. That's probably the next team that I think can go very far in the competition. If not France, I'll probably think go with Italy. That's because they do the same thing, Levan. They go with chemistry. They still have Cellini. They still have they're keeping a core of the squad for the last 2 years. If you look at the players that they have been playing, so that's what they are doing, and they didn't have a bad showing in the in the Europa qualifying. They played against a said Netherlands team, and it was a good showing. At the time, Van Dijk was fit, so and I think they played good in that game. And as for your concerns with defense, I think that's their best spear. That's their best spear. And like Wally said about the French team, it's not far off from any other team.
Hold on. What did you just say though, Chris? Have you seen those two guys for Juventus this season?
No, but when they turn up for Italy, that's what we're going to use and mark them. Same like how when we see Paul Pogba at Manchester United, he probably look different playing in the French team.
A bug is a bug.
Do you agree? Do you agree
No, but
that he look?
Chris, the difference is a partnership versus an individual. You know, Pogba is an
Yep.
individual. The Italian defense is a partnership. How much different do you expect a partnership to be?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be of much concern. That's what I'm saying. It's
Okay.
not going to be of much concern.
I don't think it will be Chiellini and Bonucci for the tournament though. Let me say the entirety of the tournament. I think Bastoni and some games in between. Because I don't think they use those two guys throughout the entirety of the tournament and expect to win.
All right, Wally, back over to you again because we have been beating the oldies all night long, especially Ryan and I. But you've seen these guys years upon years playing for the Italian national team. At this point in time, Bonucci is 34 years old and Chiellini is upwards of closer to 40 than he's actually to 30. So, I mean, going into a tournament where you actually can see that the dynamism of football has changed somewhat in terms of majority of teams have started to play attack, more counter-pressing type of football with more faster players and more trickier players. So with that in mind, would you actually stuck with the partnership that Chris is going by, or would you actually try to pair one of them with a younger individual? Like for Juventus, when they saw this season that it wasn't working out with both of them, they kept on interchanging between Bonucci and Chiellini with De Ligt. De Ligt was the mainstay of the Juventus defense this season. Now, going into a major tournament, do you actually stick with the oldies or do you actually bring in a youngster along with one of them?
All right, so we kind of get we're kind of in an age where we kind of get caught up with the number that is on the birth certificate and not the numbers that are produced on the field. You can't do an assessment just based on the fact that these guys are 34 years old. What you have to look at is throughout the games, have you observed that these guys are being taken apart, picked apart by youngsters or teams that have a lot of pace? Based on the 2-year unbeaten run from my recollection, and you guys can correct me. They would have encountered several setups. Guys with faster pace, guys who would go to the wing and cross, teams that are pressing high and so on. And yet still they have been able to maintain that unbeaten run. one of the critical things with defense, because I play a little football, not professionally, obviously, but one of the critical things with defense is your ability to anticipate and put yourself in the correct spaces. And so if you look at one of the greatest defenders of all time, Maldini, he was not a defender who had any express pace, and he was performing at a very high level way into his 30s. And why this was so is that he was able to apply his guile, his wit, and his experience to put himself into the correct position and to direct those who were younger than him in the defensive line to do the running. So if you have that sort of combination that is working, I don't see why at this juncture you would make that change.
All right. I've been going through the last 10 to 15 fixtures for
Right.
Italy. I've been interchanging the defense. Sometimes it's Bastoni and Acerbi. Sometimes it's Acerbi and Bonucci. So Chiellini is the one that hasn't been playing much. All right, is that a case as if I'm just going by age, Remember that I pointed out that I saw these guys for Juventus this season and they were awful whenever they were paired together. They didn't look as composed as you have been accustomed to. Over the years, they have been one of the most, in terms of compactness and all of that, they have been one of the best partnership ever. However, that has somewhat decimated based on the fact that, as I said, the whole they get, sometimes the brain start to go as well. So your anticipation tends to not be there as much as it normally would. And that is what I saw in Chiellini this season. Chiellini wasn't up to scratch as we have become accustomed to over the years. So that is where I actually see the bigger difference vis-a-vis.
I'm glad you made that point, because I was going to lead into it based on what Wallace said in terms of age and so forth. During Italy's 27-game run, it was from after the World Cup 2018 up to now, which is the period of time where there was no tournament football. So it's basically qualifiers and friendly, and some nation leagues in between. So you play international fixtures is what, 2 to 3 games every month, every other month, what it may be. Within that period of time, you pick a squad and you get to rotate the squad. You just pointed that out with Italy, right? So Italy rotated their defense and their team throughout those matches. When you go into a tournament now, where the games come fast, that's a different kettle of fish right off the bat. So every 3 to 4 days you're going to have a match. That is a total different thing than 3 games every month or every other month. So, and now you need a more settled team whereas in those matches they could afford to rotate. In a tournament, you're going to need more settlement. So that is the difference for me with Italy and their aging defense.
Right, but remember, those guys wouldn't be sitting down twiddling their thumbs in between internationals. They would have had their club commitments, and so the point that is being made is it relates to fatigue. So have we seen any drop off in terms of performance for this pairing coming from Juventus, coming from the Italian league, which is the most physically taxing league, to the internationals? I would think that based on the frequency of matches that happens in the league, and then having the internationals interspersed in that, if fatigue would be a factor with that pairing, it would have manifested itself during that unbeaten run.
All right, one key thing though, Wally, that I noted all along, as I keep on mentioning, they have been rotated in the Juventus team as well. So De Ligt is the main centre back for Juventus.
I was going to come to that. Yeah.
Both those two guys have been rotated. So at times they are more fresher. So whenever they come into the Italian setup, they would have not have had the amount of minutes as per se a Delict would have had. So for instance, Delict might have said 3,000 minutes for the season. You would have that for both of them. So that
It's
is the
pretty much
difference. So
like City. It's pretty much like City, where Diaz is the mainstay and Stones and Laporte get rotate between Champions League and league games and cup games. Those are the ones that are rotated, whereas Diaz get the bulk of the minutes.
Yeah. But in terms of their forward line, do you actually see any problems right there, Chris?
Yeah, they always have a number 9 problem, and they have been having it for a while. That's where they're going to struggle. But Italy is a team who normally try to squeeze you out. That's why I can see why most people focus on their defense, because if they're not scoring goals or they don't have people up front to score goals, they obviously need to play a good defense, because they will squeeze you out like a 1-0 or a 2-0 most games. So that's where the struggle is. Up front. Don't know if Immobile is can get into farm and score some goals for his team. And they don't really have a backup. They don't really have a
So
good
Alidan,
backup striker.
So Alidan, we're not saying that Immobile is not a good number 9. He's a good number 9 for Lazio. However, playing for Lazio and the Italian national team, he has looked a far different player. He has struggled somewhat for Italy, and that is what we're trying to point out.
Isn't he like what, 13 games from 40 13 goals from 40 games for Italy? Something like that.
I believe it's somewhere thereabouts. And as I said, they have the creative forces. Know what the problem is, that there's it's not a case as if it's just us that are actually saying it. I've even seen Italians saying that they don't have a prolific forward, because majority of times, if you look at how they play, it has been Insigne that has to come into to the number 9 position and play an inverted striker. And that is what they're trying to run from, because Insigne is more effective when he's on the wing. So if you look at the team itself, the forward line is iffy, and the defense is also iffy. The goalkeeper is a decent keeper.
I want to say the forward line, the number 9 position, because
the number 9,
it's Chiesa and Lorenzo. Yeah, so not the line itself.
So yeah, let's retract. The number 9 position, that is the issue, not the entire forward line, because they have decent wingers in Berardi, Insigne, Chiesa, and all those guys. And even Bernardeschi, the youngster that they're trying to bring through, I don't know how good he'll actually be for them. His name is Giacomo Raspadori. He actually plays for Sassuolo. So let's see how he actually performs for them, because they actually has high hopes for him. So let's see.
Levon, you remember a few weeks ago when we were talking about the best midfield in the world, which team have the best midfield in the world, and I pointed out Italy is one of the top 5 teams with midfielders in the world. And you were saying that Italy midfield is kind of one dimension. Sorry, not dynamic, but one dimensional.
Yeah.
Apart from Frenzzyy, and when I look into it, it is true. Apart from really, not Frenzzyy, Barella. Yeah.
All right, let's go through it a bit for the viewers that who don't know these players. So you have Brian Cristante, who plays for Roma. You have Nicola Barella. Well, as I mentioned, he's the only one that is different from the others. You have Jorginho. Locatelli is slightly a little bit different somewhat. And then you have Verratti. All these players are basically, and as Ryan mentioned, Frenzzyy. All these players is of the same realm. They don't really bring much difference to the team itself. For instance, if you look at Germany, you know that we can expect from a Cruz. You know what you can expect from a Gundogan. You know that you're going to expect something different from a Kimmich. So, I mean, the diversity is there. Even with the English team as well. When I look at Declan Rice, more like we start as a DM. Then you have Mason Mount, Phil Foden, and all those guys. They bring something different to the team. Vis-a-vis. Go on.
The funny part about that is Italy will do better than those two teams with all those dynamics.
You know the worst part about this, Spain not gonna win. But the team that has failed to develop to deliver when it matters most, and people are saying that the golden generation, and if they don't actually win something right now, this is the year for them. If they don't win anything right now and next year, then they can call it quits for some time to come. I'm speaking about the Belgian national team. The golden generation never delivered the last World Cup, and boy, Wally, I know that I'm a man that beat Eden Hazard a lot. Because I remember that when he was making the move over to Real Madrid. Remember my instant reaction. Yeah, man, just expect him to go over there and do nonsense. But Ryan is a man that rates Hazard highly, That is one of Ryan's favorite player because they know that he was a Chelsea boy and all of that. But if you look at him going into the tournament, one of our analysts in Shakes always said that big players need to turn up in big games. Kevin De Bruyne is one of those players that hasn't turned up in a big game when it mattered most. And with him somewhat nursing an injury, do you actually think that this is a year for them, Wally, or will they fall short again? And as we keep on mentioning right throughout, this is another team with defense problem, because if you're going to draw back for Thomas Vermaelen and all those guys, that simply means that, man, this is not good. But what do you think of them, Wally?
No, the phrase "dark horse" has been used for Belgium from as far as I can remember. We need to retire that phrase. The horse dead, rotten, 6 foot 6 under the ground.
They have been ranked number one for many years.
There is nothing there.
Wally, can I interject 1 second?
Sure.
The producer in the background is saying, "I think the man them knock him out last World Cup."
And then do foolishness the next match. Anyway, yeah, I think we need to retire this label for Belgium. I think for me, what has happened over the years, there are a few key players that do well, and some would say exceptionally well at the club. And what they do is superimpose that fantastic club performance onto the team and rank the team based on that. If over the years, when you have looked at Belgium and assessed their performance as a team, there really haven't been anything to write about. What always happened, tournament after tournament, World Cup after World Cup, is you have the name players that do well at the clubs, and then people look at the team on paper and say, yes, man, this is the dark horse, and they fail to deliver. I expect more of the same. I think that the last World Cup would have been their best showing. They won't get to that level in the Euros, because where is it going to come from?
Romelu.
Look how
From
Romelu let's be fair though, Wally. When it comes down to the Belgian national side, don't play with Romelu. Romelu scores a lot for them, man.
Yeah.
No, but look at his performance in the latter. Was he able to produce in the latter round? Think about the last World Cup.
That's the issue.
Right. So
that's the issue, and it's something that generally that you look at with big players.
On the little Croft team.
Continue, man.
So if you can recall the last World Cup, when it mattered, he was like the avatar, missing when it mattered most. So I really cannot see, and then especially with Hazard out of form. So all the on Lukaku, and he's not the he's
and De Bruyne.
Right, precisely. So I really don't see where the goals are going to come from, and I don't expect much their last big tournament outing. So to retire that word totally from
yeah, man, true, man. They're no longer the dark horse. Go again? Producer, go sit down, man. This man in the background while chipping away, but tell Wally that the 3 lions are the dark horses this time around.
Tell him it's not Ashes cricket we're talking about.
Producer, what's the Ashes we're talking about? So leave that alone.
I know why he says that, because both Belgium and England always has a lot of talent and just can't.
Yes,
So that's why they
golden
are always
generations,
labeled like that.
Always
No,
have
but-
golden generations.
What do they?
Yeah.
All right, so let us examine that. Do they really have? If you examine the teams over the years, does England I really feel year after year England has been overrated. Year after year, what happens
That is
is that
true. When
person,
you break it down, you will see that. And each
course.
tournament, when they say, oh, England, each tournament, when they say England, apart from 2006, when I really look into each squad, you can find 3 or 4 other teams that are better than England going into those tournaments.
One thing though, Ryan, leave this England team alone for Monday. Don't jump into it, man. We're just sticking by Italy, Belgium, and France for tonight. But one thing that I want to agree with Mal
somehow, if we are talk about Andorra, the conversation end up reached to England for some reason.
What to say for Monday? But one thing that I want to agree with that Wallace said, and Ryan, you as an Englishman can probably somehow agree with me on this. Last World Cup, Kane scored all his goals in the first round thereabouts, right? And when it mattered most, when they should have knocked out Croatia.
Probably about the first 2 or 3 games.
So it's just the same. It's just the same case with Lukaku. These big players need to turn up when it matters most, and Kane had the opportunity to do it, and he didn't. But another thing that I want to also add to is what Chris said. Chris said it's not just the teams that won the World Cup previously as stick to most of the core. I also agree with him with Belgium, because if you look at Belgium team, right? Let's be fair. What is Nasser Chadli doing in this team? Like, let's be frank. What is he doing in this team? And I mean, if I look through, what is Michy Batshuayi doing in this team? Batshuayi hasn't even. This man hasn't played for Crystal Palace.
Is Benteke there as well?
Benteke is right there as well.
Exactly.
Hi. So I guess Robert.
I'm telling you, coaches are very loyal people. That's how they get respect in the dressing room.
Let me dive into Belgium now. Belgium peaked in 2018. That was when they should have won something. They did not win the World Cup.
Yes.
They are not going to. This generation is not going to get any better. It is downhill right now for them. When you look at the defense, you have 3 men who are likely to start, and they are all the wrong side of 30. Naya, who is with Dedrick Boyata. Okay.
Alderweireld.
When you look at the wing left, what? 4-3-4. Sorry,
No,
3-4-3.
3-4-3. Yeah.
Yeah. So the right winger, Munir is just Munir. He's going to do some foolishness in every game that he's going to play. On the other flank, you might have Targan Hazard or Carrasco. They are decent players. Midfield, you have
Dennis Prytley and the Dunker, Yuri Tillemans.
Yuri. I was thinking of Yuri, but his name
Yuri will be there.
Tillemans, yeah. So he has to start. Front line, maybe Hazard if he's fit. Maybe De Bruyne if he's De Bruyne should be fit. So De Bruyne,
he won't play in the first match.
Okay, so Lukaku and Dries Mertens, who is 34 now.
Well, actually, Ryan, stick up in. They have been benching him over the past couple of games. They have been giving the opportunity to the youngster, Jeremy Ducko. That has been the youth that has been starting.
He's what, 18, 19?
Yeah.
Good player, but he's just 18, 19. So
Come
when
on,
you look
man,
at
don't watch
Belgium,
age. Just like how you say we must watch it all this age.
no, you have to watch it age, man. It means something, especially in tournament football.
All right, boss.
So when you really look at Belgium, the core of Belgium team is aging.
How old was Mbappe when France won?
That's one player. And who before Mbappe? Pele. That's 50 years ago. So that's the gap is so wide.
You can't.
Yeah, I'm not saying no, but I'm saying the gap is wide. It is a very nominal number of people that have done these things.
All right, so let's just put this in for the Brazilian fan since he's here. Brazil is now leading 1-0 in the World Cup qualifier. Goal scored by one overrated, as they call him, non-Brazilian Richarlison. He has been the one to get on the score sheet. So they're in the 67th minute. Brazil are leading 1-0.
Yeah, so what Belgium needs to go far is a good path. Outside of that, I don't really fancy them as much as some do. But if they get a good path, then they can go like semis or so, depending.
But Ryan, I also agree with you with the fact that I wouldn't start Munir over Timothy Castagne. Castagne has played very well for Leicester this season, so I would never start him. But Chris, you're a big fan of Lukaku, you know this, man, because you like those sort of players. How do you think this Belgium team will do come this tournament?
I don't like to pick teams like Belgium and England because they just always seem to disappoint. So once you keep disappointing me, I just go with the result. You're always disappointing your fans. You're always disappointing analysts who pick you to come out to do something good. So I always say they have people picking against them now. People like to pick those teams picking against them. I don't expect too much. I like the Hazard brother. Obviously De Bruyne, but there's not much to ride home about them. They're talented players who are not turning up at tournaments. That's all it is. And I don't expect, like I say, I have Italy to do better than Italy, and Italy is my dark horse in this tournament.
All right, boss. One final word before you go, because I think you have to make a run. I want you to talk about your king going home, because I know that this is a man that you glorified. Now he's back to where he belongs, right down there. Now, give me a take quickly.
It was a brilliant game by the Phoenix Suns. Exceptional game. I like to see new players doing well. Aiton and Booker really stepped up. Devin Booker really stepped up. He basically is not a good three-point shooter, but that night he was shooting lights out from the three-point. That's all we want to see players taking the scruff of the neck, knowing that Anthony Davis was out. He's the Lakers' best player, by the way, not LeBron James. Anthony Davis is the Lakers' best player at the moment. So with Devin Booker realizing that this is an opportunity to take, and he grabbed it with both hands with his leader, Chris Paul, standing by his side. And I'm happy to see Chris Paul finally looking like he can probably make it to the conference final. Probably come out. I'm taking Phoenix to come out of the West.
All right, boss. But I see you hop, skip, and jump around it, and you didn't really answer it. But I mean,
it's the first time he's been knocked out of the first round. If that's what you want, I don't think you could give him much fault for it. He tried his best, and I can't say too much about him because he did his best. His shooters didn't turn up, and that's just how it is. That's how it is. He's not the same LeBron 5 years ago or even probably 3 years ago. He doesn't have that same influence on probably series like he had. So what a time.
All right. So I guess you have to make a run, boss. So happy that you actually made the time out to be here. Respect for that, man. Go and do your business and ensure say you win the match. I don't want to lose around here. Make sure say you win the match.
No man, we win the match yesterday. Win finals yesterday. So a party time now. So
yes, a party time now. You're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
Which position you played yesterday?
I play center, sir.
All right.
That's what I play. That's what I play all the time.
Okay, all rounder. Sometimes I say I play right back, sometimes all over the park, but say a word, man.
All right.
Go and go enjoy, but don't
All right,
drink too
well,
much going the
take care.
boss.
Don't beat left man too much. Take time with him.
Chris, are you the one give the kung them today, you know, wicked man, Chris?
All right, that Levon, you see that topic that Wally West want to come here and it's not going away now. So we can discuss it again next week because that topic
Yeah,
not going away.
Chris, that topic won't go anywhere. So as I said, there's a possibility that we might bring it up back, because it's a topic that Wally and his company can't beat us on. So we're going to bring up that topic. Big up yourself, Chris. And
so have a good night.
don't drink and jump now in the boss.
No, never,
We'll need you
never.
back next week. All right, boss. Blessings. So Wally, we're going to stick on the basketball argument. So the man that referred to as the king of basketball, the greatest of all time, LeBron James, is now home, knocked out by Phoenix Suns. And it was a brilliant series by Devin Booker, as he mentioned. Devin Booker has been super right throughout. And as he said, Chris Paul leadership has come to the fore. And also the pieces around them has done well. So overall, what do you make of the Lakers in this series and the Phoenix Suns?
Well, the thing is that, so I want to pick up on that. Well, first one correction. LeBron James is not the GOAT. So let's get what I want to pick up on though is what Chris said, something that he mentioned. If you look at the game, the LeBron involved in any aggressive way until the latter part of it was when the Lakers started to kind of chip into the league.
All right, well, you're kind of chipping and chipping out.
Got into it.
Yeah, I'm hearing it clear now.
Okay, right. What I'm saying is that the Chris was saying is his best, and I'm saying that is not an accurate statement of the game that took place last night. The Suns started to punch the Lakers in the early, and LeBron basically went through the motion of the third quarter when Lakers started to make a run, and he kind of started going to the line. You don't expect a player to win every game. Swinging, Anthony Davis was out, so obviously the burden of carrying the team, and you see your team getting like that, and you don't try and into the latter part of the game. It was a very, very disappointing performance from somebody of his caliber. Really should have put his stamp on the game and go down swinging. The things that they always knock him on, it matters most. There are so many occasions where he doesn't provide his best output. So I definitely have to knock him for last night's performance.
But talk about the Phoenix Suns though. What you made of them throughout this entire series?
Well, the thing is that so Chris Paul is one of my ballers, and you can see that every team that he goes on, those intangibles that he brings to the table, especially as it really leadership, running the offense, is irreplaceable. You see that in the latter part of the game, fourth quarter, Devin Booker established the lead and kept the lead. That run going down to 5 minutes. I think it was 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter in the game. And if you saw you could have seen the mastery that he had with just keeping everybody calm, making and big shot when it mattered most. And that is the sort of champ performance you need from your superstar. So Phoenix, they did an excellent job. A lot of analysts, a lot of pundits were pretty much, saying that it would be a cakewalk. If you looked on the various social media platforms, you saw individuals saying 4-love, you saw a person saying 4-1, 4-2, all that sort of thing. Really overrating LeBron James at this stage of his career, because that's one of the things that persons need to realize, that, and it's LeBron James at this stage of his career is not the same LeBron James at 27, 28 at the peak of his powers, and people keep forgetting that who he was.
Injury prone.
And so he really is almost functioning as a number 2 option in a sense, as opposed to how he was previously, where he was carrying Anthony Davis. He was a critical one, who is the Lakers' goal. So Phoenix Suns, excellent game plan. One of the things that I saw very early was that when Anthony Davis came into the game, they ran switches for both Chris Paul and Devin Booker to have him switched on them, and then they attacked him to test that grind. And you see that they were able to get by him pretty easily. So as a matter of fact, it was on a play where he was trying to guard Devin Booker, and he overextended himself trying to get the block. And that's when he re-aggravated the groin. So that was excellent game planning by the Suns. It was just a well thought out, well planned, well managed series by the Phoenix Suns. And I hats off again to Chris Paul for playing through that injury and just marshalling the team as he always does wherever he goes.
Facts. So currently the Mavericks against Clippers series, they are in the second quarter with 2 minutes to go. Mavericks are leading 43-42. No, on Sunday, Wally. Well, not Sunday. I'm jumping the gun too quick. Tomorrow we'll see the Nets taking on the Bucks in the conference semifinals. No, how do you call this series?
Well, I really the Nets really have too much firepower for the Bucks, and they will be able to pack the paint, because I've yet to see Giannis have a consistent jump shot. So they will be able to pack the paint, keep him outside, and then be able to really limit his ability, because how he gets the shooters involved is that he's able to especially in transition, drive to the hoop, and then when the defense collapses, he kicks out to the shooters. So what Miami was able to do last year, which unfortunately they were not able to replicate, was pretty much limit him in transition to half-court sets where he's not able to get into the paint and kick out the passes to get shooters involved. And then on the offensive side, again, as I say, it's just too much firepower. When you look at how the Nets have performed in the Boston series, there is never an occasion where you have 2 out of the 3 stars underperforming. So in terms of carrying the offensive load, you will never have a play. So unlike Dallas, where Luka is the offense, both from a scoring perspective as well as setting up other persons. The Nets have a luxury where they have 3 individuals who can both score and set up the offense. So I think they will be overwhelmed by the Bucks. I can say the Bucks, winning 2 games, but I'm just to see them beating the Nets on 3 occasions.
Because as I mentioned now, Wally, if you notice that a lot of times throughout the regular season and even since the playoff, when one of the big three might be having a bad game, here comes Joe Harris stepping up to the plate, shooting lights, and also Bruce Brown Jr. and all those guys. So yeah, they have players in and around that can shoot a free ball whenever things aren't necessarily going according to how they plan it out. But based on that, you're saying that you expect Nets to win this series 4-2.
Yes, man. For barring any injury, I can't the Bucks beating the Nets on 3 occasions.
Okay. And on Sunday, we'll see the start of the 76ers against Hawks series. Call that series.
Yeah, man, I need to check. I'm not sure if Embiid is back to 100%.
Not.
So he's not. So that will be a big factor in determining how long the series goes. I think without Embiid at 100%, they can still get the job done. It's just a matter of whether the Hawks will win 2 or 3 games. So it could go to a best of 7 if Embiid is not 100%, because we saw when he was out, the Wizards, who I would have them just a shade below the Hawks in terms of ability, and so they were able to beat the the Sixers without Embiid at 100%. So that will really be the determining factor whether the Hawks are able to win 2 games or 3.
Okay. And also, Monday, we'll see the start of the Suns against Nuggets series. Call that one as well.
Whoa. That is going to be a very, very. I expect that to go 7 games. It is a. Honestly, I have both sides evenly matched, with maybe the Nuggets are a shade ahead with Jokic, because
Yeah.
of how dynamic it is. So I can see that series going 7 games with Nuggets emerging as the eventual winner. That's not a result I would like to happen, because I really want Chris Paul to go to the finals. But that's how I see it at this point. After game 1, I can really reevaluate and see how it goes.
And last but not least, I want to get your view on your girl, because we can't have you here and you not talk about your girl now, because you're one of the biggest Elaine Thompson fan, and she has come out this season, ran a 10.78, and a lot of people are wondering what is she going to come with, and here she is out 10.78, and she's scheduled to run tomorrow, and she'll face off against Brianna Williams and co. But do you actually think that she can repeat her Olympic success come this Olympics, based
Of
on what
course.
you have seen so far, and with the fact that she is the one that is getting the attention in the MVP camp now?
I definitely I definitely see her being able to repeat. When I was just doing some research, and in terms of the top times for this season.
Yeah, man, Ollie Richardson has run faster than her this season.
Right. I think she has the
Second.
second best time
Yeah.
for the season. So I definitely see her being able to handle the business when the time comes. Especially since if you look at the last race that Richardson ran, she came second. It was Asha Smith who beat her, and she ran 11
No,
30.
but you can't really use that to judge her, though, because the track itself in Gateshead was awful. The condition for racing was very awful. Because
Yeah,
even
man.
Asha Smith who won the race, she ran like 11.5, I believe she ran as well. So it was awful condition for racing.
No, but yeah, but the condition was awful for everybody. So if you are the top contender that everybody is focusing on, when I look at the rankings, that race that Asha Smith is in terms of fastest times, she's 125th for 2021. If you are the big gun coming in, she shouldn't beat you. She should not have beat
Can't
you.
use that, Wally. Can't use
Of
that.
course,
You
of
know why?
course.
You know why I can't use that?
Why?
Again, conditions matters a lot.
But it's applicable to all
Coaches,
athletes.
hold on. You can also be running under coach's instruction. The coach can judge it and say, here what? This is the condition that is at this particular track. I don't want it to go out there and try to breeze out of the blocks and end up getting injured by exerting too much force. So she could have run under instruction and been told that, here what? Just go out there, do as much as you can, just finish top 3. Because coaches let athletes run under instructions. We know this for a fact. Also, I can also say that Asha Smith is used to the track because Asha Smith is English and this meet took place in England. So it could also be that. Also, there are other factors that you could look at. Reason being, look at Shelley. I believe Shelley finished 3rd in the race. And then the following week, Shelley ran 10.84. So you can't really use that particular meet to judge her. You can't.
No, man. So you're missing the point that I'm making. I'm not assessing her based on the time. I'm assessing her based on the form that she has come in with and who beat her. There is no way you should be coming in with a hot streak like that and somebody who is ranked 125th in terms of fastest time beat you. If
Wally,
you
you know what you're doing though? You're making it seem as if Asha Smith is a bug. Come on, man.
she's
Asha
not
Smith is top class.
she's not top class.
She's
There is
world silver
no.
medalist. Come on, man.
How
Wally.
long ago? Since the start of the
Just the other
season.
day, the last major championship, Asha Smith came second. So you can't come on, man.
When was the last major championship? Last year.
2019.
Exactly. That's 2 years removed.
But as I said,
Nobody was calling Asha Smith's name prior to that meet.
no man, her name was called, man.
No, she was
called,
not
man.
in the discussion. No, she was not in the discussion
But,
as
Wally, what you're missing doing, and I said, you know this for athletes. You know that, okay, based on the condition, if you are a sprinter, or for better example, I am a sprinter, you are my coach. You look at the weather and say, oh, it's rainy, it's breezy, and all of that. Naturally, you just allow me to just run freely, you know. You being my coach, wouldn't you actually come and give me a clear indication and say, don't go out and blast because you might end up getting injured based on the condition that is in that particular atmosphere and that track.
So based on that reasoning, so based on that reasoning, Shelly run under instruction then.
Yeah, she could.
Could.
Yeah, because well, as I said, you know, if you notice that all these athletes in that race, their time were very slow. All of them.
Yeah, it was slow because the headwind was very high.
And producer said I should mention it as well that Asha Smith is also the world champion in the 200 meters. So don't think that is a bug that actually beat her.
No, what we deal with recency. When Gatlin beat Bolt in 2017, he had all the accolades behind him. But we do the assessment in the moment. You can't say, boy, because Usain Bolt is the multiple world record holder, therefore he's going to be successful in this event. What you have to do is assess the athlete in the moment. The previous accolades are not factored in.
One thing that I keep on pointing out that I don't think you get. It could be said that all these athletes run under clear instruction that don't go out and blast in this weather. Because as I said, no, if you actually saw that meet, boss, it was one of the worst track you can ever see. When it come on to windy and rainy, come on, man, it was awful. And any sensible coach would actually tell the athlete, don't go and blast in this race. Because there's only one likely outcome if you do that. And it's an injury. And you don't want an athlete to get injured basically 2 months before the major game, the Olympic game. So all these athletes were clearly told not to run fast into this. And even if they had pushed themselves in this race, what would have happened? Because I watched the race, and if you look at it, none of these athletes actually blasted. A lot of them were basically just going through the motion.
Right. Well, it may appear that way because of the headwind. The headwinds went up to as high as 4 meters per second. So it may give the impression that they are just coasting when it really isn't the case because of the resistance that they're facing.
Yeah, I get that.
But
if you look at one key thing though, that's what I'm saying. If you actually look at the race itself, you could judge that they weren't pushing as hard as you know that they actually can. Even though the wind was in place, you could actually see it based on how the race was run.
But the overall point I want to make though, so yes, we have those factors to consider. But the overall point I want to make is that year after year, we see the same sort of trend where the Americans run fast times in America leading up to the event, and as you get closer to crunch time, they peter off, and that is I think that this meet, that Gateshead meet there is really the beginning of that recurring trend that we see. So I really don't. Well, that is that we shall see. We shall see.
Yeah,
There has never been. We
haven't seen Shakari since then,
Right. We haven't seen her since that point.
And since that 10.78 clock in, we haven't seen Elaine since then. So we can't tell what sort of shape Elaine is actually in, since we're going down the line that you're actually arguing. It could be said that Elaine has petered up and she is now what? 11 seconds.
No, but our coaching historically.
I know that's what we're going to drop.
We peak towards championships. That is our culture. What we have seen over and over. I remember 2015 when Gatlin was running 9.7s for fun. What happened when he got to the final? It's just the history. If you watch from back in the days, from 90s come right up, the American trials and those meets in America, they run some fantastic times, and they don't replicate that when it comes to the big stage. So I have no concerns where that is concerned. I think that Frano has a point to prove. With Elaine stepping away, with Shelley stepping away, his golden child. I really think that Frano has something to prove, and he will be, preparing Elaine accordingly to deliver when it matters.
You know what he's getting at? While he's saying that Shakari Richardson is no threat whatsoever. That's what he's actually trying to say. That he don't want to come forward and just boldly say it.
Well, you can understand what he's saying.
Yeah, man, I do get his point.
We haven't seen Shakari over 3 rounds. Each semis final.
Exactly.
We haven't seen her, and that's a different kettle of fish when you go to the Olympics.
Exactly.
3 rounds a race is not easy.
Yeah, man, I understand where you're coming from, but the thing with me vis-a-vis you guys is that I'm willing to give her the chance to prove herself than write her off at this point in time.
Yeah, I would write her off, but
yeah, it's a big difference between. Remember, Elaine has been there and done that. Silver medal, one of the fastest 200 meters in history. Gold medal, and again one of the top 3 fastest 200 meters in history, and 100 meter champion. So this is somebody who has been there, done that. It's a different kettle of fish when you get to the championship, running the rounds, as the producer said, also delivering when it matters most. You can imagine big Gatlin when the pressure reached him. I can never forget that 2015 season when he had like 6 or 7 times of 9-7 leading into the championship. And in the final, when it mattered most, when he saw and felt Usain closing, he started to reach for the line
But
a few meters before the
one
finish
key thing
line.
though, one key thing. On that occasion, Gatlin times were generally fast right through it, way ahead of both. On this occasion, Shaka is just 600 of a second ahead of Elaine, so it's not that case as it is.
Yeah,
It's way forward. I remember that Elaine also has a better personal base, so I mean, it's kind of different somewhat.
No, so that, yeah, go ahead.
I just want to give the scoreline in your box side match. So Dive Mara scored a penalty, so it's now 2-0 to that side from down South America. That got 7 from my side. So I mean, Dive Mara finally get on the score sheet, and around here we don't call him Wizard, we call him Lizard.
Wizard.
That's a lizard, man. All he knows to do is roll and cry. But you're going to finish up on a final point.
Right. So I was saying that the fact that the time gap between Shakari and Elaine is much smaller than what it was for Gatlin and Bolt. So therefore, it gives greater strength to the point that, you know, in terms of her being able to deliver in that time, she doesn't even have that gap in time in her favor when it comes to the big day. So the gap in time is small. She hasn't gone through the championship rounds, and also she hasn't performed on a big stage. So all those 3 factors are working against her.
Yeah, but one thing though, we have to just look at it factually. Remember, we're not saying that she is going to definitely win the race, you know. But if you have to look at it based on what is in front of you guys, of us, we have to say that she's a genuine contender at this point in time. Can't rule her out right now.
Oh, I
but
mean,
may happen down the line, we may never know.
Well, when people say contender, you know, meaning them have them in the mix for the medals, but it would be
she you can't necessarily rule her out of it, you know.
I think something must have better idea.
What US trials and that's the key thing. US trials is what I'm looking for too. What she does at US trials will tell me where she is at when she goes through all those runs and all of that. We can remember that on the last occasion. Remember that she never made it to the US team because she went to trials and I believe she finished 4th or 5th thereabouts, I believe, and she had the fastest time. So that's why I'm saying that US trials will prove to me as to what condition she's actually in this time around vis-a-vis them, because last time out she was just running along the circuit right there. This time around it's different. So that will give a clear indication as to where she's actually at, going through the runs and all of that.
Yeah, man. And then also, so I agree with that point, but then also, they in terms of, so in addition to the 3 things that I mentioned previously, that is working against her, and will be in Elaine's favor. Additionally, in terms of speed for speed, Elaine is in top form faster than her, and then also additionally, she has the speed endurance because
Wally, don't follow what Akilene is saying. This girl top end speed is no slouch. This is where she's actually strong. Is her top end speed that she's actually strong with as well. So I mean,
no man. So what I'm saying is that, remember I said that in fit form, Elaine fastest time is faster than Richardson's fastest.
Yeah, by about what? Is it 200 of a second or 100 of a second? So it's not major as well.
No, it doesn't matter. She's faster, 1, and then 2, she has the speed endurance.
Along that line, I could say that because Richardson is faster this year, Richardson is the favorite. I can go along that line as well.
No man, remember I'm looking at the entire picture. I'm looking at all.
Yeah, man, I get where you're coming from, but I'm just adding that. But Akil, trust me, stop sleep on this girl top end speed. She has one of the worst starts ever. This Shakari fellow, her start is one of the worst I can actually find.
Actually, out of all top 4 girls.
Probably out of all the top 4 sprinters right now, she has a worst start. However, you see that top end speed, that is what bring her through at the end.
Yeah, but if Shelly and Elaine is fit, if she cannot afford to have a poor start. If she has a poor start, she has no chance to
But that's what I'm saying. If you look at it's too early to judge because we don't know what facets of the races they're working on. For instance, we look at Brianna Williams. She started off the season sluggish, running 11:50s, then down to 11:20. Well, I mean, she started off with 11:20, I believe, and then she generally just take her time and come down to 10.98 right now. So we may never know what exactly they're working on.
Yeah. So we'll definitely be looking out and seeing what happens there.
Any final thoughts? Any topic whatsoever, or any thoughts that you want to just bring across, just go ahead, man.
Yeah, man. I know you said that you wanted to wait until Monday, but me have to turn over the milk for the 3 kittens. Definitely have to turn over the milk for the 3 kittens. Unless for those of you who are familiar with Avengers, unless Doctor Strange comes and use the time stone and carries us back to 1966. That is the only way it's coming home. The only way.
Always know yourself, man. This is actually the best England side since 2006. Since Lampard Gerrard. This is our best English side ever.
But Monday, definitely Monday, we will beat the 3 kittens.
All right, boss.
Know yourself, man. Saka,
Bukayo Saka is there, man.
Saka. Yeah, he's there from Arsenal to carry us to the tournament.
But want to say thanks to Wally for being here. Ryan was also here, and also Chris. Well, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Wally really wanted to get that Chris about that Osaka issue, but we'll pick up that issue at some other point. Are we producer?
Yes, so.
Yeah.
Because I remember that we said Trent, we were the one who actually brought that topic to light, and then you have the other media houses picking it up. And yes, come on, man, give Sports Frenzzyy some ratings, man. Come on, man.
Yes, definitely.
It was good having you, Wally, touch on some basketball and your favorite athlete, Elaine, and also football. We'll delve into some football issues, and this is what we'll be focusing on. And some of the shows going forward, we'll be discussing the Euros, because that's where majority of the media has turned their attention to. So we'll be discussing that a lot, and come Monday we'll be discussing England, Germany, and Netherlands.
I don't know if you guys have been seeing the ads for the Euros on ESPN. They're advertising it as the greatest football show on earth. I'm like, what is wrong with these people trying to boost up Euros over World Cup? I don't know what is wrong with
you know why they're doing it though, Wally? And I can just be fair, because Europe is way superior to the rest of teams in the world right now. And I say this at point blank range. I'm not afraid. Brazil not going nowhere.
All right.
And Argentina, worse not going nowhere.
All right.
But thanks to Wally and thanks to our viewers for being here. Over one point, we had over 30 viewers. We had over like 200 plus comments. And thanks to the producer. I know that a lot of the viewers are going to cuss and say, oh, this and that. But trust me, Brazil ain't going anywhere. Y'all are some waganists. Just like France will lose Euros and they'll lose World Cup. You know why? A lot of people have jumped on the wagon, and the wagon will come and sink. I've seen this too many times, because all of a sudden, when you look all over, oh, I'm a French fan. Too much French fans now, man. It's just like when Germany won the last World Cup.
All right.
Oh, I'm a German fan.
All right. But glad you touched on that, because the German wagon did overload till it shambled down.
And guess what, Wally? I'm happy that a lot of them has fallen off, and a lot of them have put Germany under the bus. And guess what? I'll just slowly go about my business. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm going to win Euros or win World Cup. I'll just quietly go about my business.
Just like us English, it's coming on.
Man, that's it on there. But thanks to our viewers, and thanks to our producer Josh Carl. And it's not coming home.
It's not coming home. It is not coming home.
Not with Gareth Southgate. But guys, until Monday. Stay safe, have a peaceful weekend, go out and enjoy some football, and you have an extra hour tomorrow. Go and enjoy it, man. Lockdown slightly easing up, so go and enjoy yourself. Be safe. Take care.